Morning, Amy. How are you? So, you got a graduation party in the backyard this weekend and you just don't know what to make for an appetizer. Well, here's a really simple, delicious tomato-based appetizer that you can serve the whole summer long, especially when the tomatoes are really coming up and you've got cherry tomatoes coming out of the wahoo and you don't know what to do with them. Well, this is a great way to do something with your tomatoes. What we're going to make is a tomato confit crostini. If you don't know what confit is, it's a French process that essentially means cooked in fat. Now, I know that sounds really bad, but this one, okay, so you got duck confit where they cook like duck legs and duck fat. That might get a little bit fattening. But this one we're using extra virgin olive oil and tomatoes, so it's pretty good for you. So what we have is 2 pounds of tomatoes, grape tomatoes. You could use cherry tomatoes that we cut in half. And then we're just going to give them a little salt and pepper. Not much, and then just give it a quick toss. And then we're going to add it to an oven-safe dish. Now, of course, this is a commercial kitchen, so we have these big pans here, but if you're at home and you have like a casserole dish or anything that you can put in the oven, just go ahead. And to that, we're going to add extra virgin olive oil, and we want to, this is going to take too long, we'll go the easy route. We're going to put enough in there so it almost covers it. You know, we don't want them drowning in there, but we want it, you know, pretty close, like 3/4 of the way up or so on our tomatoes. And to that, we're going to add some fresh basil, about 5 to 10 leaves. You can add the whole stem and everything in there. Now, this pan is a little bit wider than what we should use. We'd want to have it a little bit more compact, so if you had a smaller one, that would be even better. And then you're going to go ahead, cover it with some aluminum foil or the cover that naturally comes with your pan, and you're going to pop it in the oven at about 350 degrees for around 40 to 45 minutes, and we're going to slow cook these tomatoes. So we would, you know, throw them in the oven, 40 to 45 minutes. We're going to pull them out and we're going to allow them to cool. After they're cool, what you want to do is strain off that extra oil, but don't throw it away because that's a really great tomato flavored extra virgin olive oil that's going to make a fantastic vinaigrette or even just a drizzle on a salad itself. But once we're cooled and we've got most of the oil drained off, I kind of just lightly mashed them with the back of a spoon, so we've got this wonderful tomato confit paste almost. And what we also did is we took some French batard and or Italian bread, whatever one you want to do, and we just kind of sliced it at an angle, put it on a sheet pan or a cookie sheet and put it in the oven till it became golden brown and kind of dried out almost to make crostini. We also have some wonderful Wisconsin fresh mozzarella that we cut roughly the same shape, maybe a little bit smaller than our crostini. And then we have some basil. What I did with our basil, and you know, if you have one of those little deep fryers, countertop deep fryers at home, you can fire it up, normal setting like you would for anything else, and you're going to take your basil leaf and you're just going to set it in there, but jump away because it'll splatter. And once it's done splattering and everything, take your skimmer and skim it right out and put it on some paper towel, and you're going to have these wonderful fried basil leaves that kind of look almost like a really cool stained glass. So it's going to be a cool trick that your neighbors or your relatives will be impressed with at your party. If you are too afraid or too timid to do that, go ahead and just use regular fresh basil on the top, or you could use pesto. So now we're going to have to build them. So we would take our crostini and we'd spread this wonderful tomato confit across the top, and we'll just do a couple. Now you're going to want to pick the big stem of basil out of there, but if you've got a few basil leaves hanging out here in here still, that's not a big deal. It's just delicious flavor. So we've got those on there. And then we would take our fresh mozzarella right on the top, and we'd pop this in the oven. So you could make this the night before, make your crostinis, and then the next morning build as many as you want, load up your cookie sheet and put them in the oven, and you're just going to cook them until the cheese starts to melt a little bit. And we can see here how it's melting ever so slightly. And right before we finish them off, we would just a little bit of kosher salt and some cracked pepper, and then line them up on your presentation platter. And then to finish them, we're going to finish them with a little bit of balsamic glaze, which you can get at the grocery store or, you know, at some of those finer cooking stores in the mall. And you're just going to drizzle, it's just like a sweeter balsamic. We're going to drizzle that on top. Or if you were so lucky to find a 30-year-old balsamic, a nice aged one, that would be delicious on here too. Kind of made a mess of our plates. Ah, even worse. And then we would finish it off on top with one of our fried basil leaves. So we've got a great, almost version of a caprese, really, but just twisted up a little bit, made nice and rich by the extra virgin olive oil, using up all those tomatoes you may have coming up in the garden, and perfect for a graduation, especially if the school colors are red and green.